Hey, hey, hey. How are you? And all right, so that's transferred. All right. So for those of you who are watching and tuning in, I got Joe, who's a friend of mine, also the founder of the Facebook Explain Learning Center's Facebook group. So he just purchased this Airbus A320 from Plate Factor, and we're gonna see if we can help him get it started. So first thing I'm gonna do is bring up my file structure. So tell me if you see this, Joe. So I'm gonna go into Explain 11, and then I'm gonna go to Resources, and then Plugins. And my wife's getting home, so my dogs are gonna bark. It only lasts for a minute or so. Anyway, so this CEF plugin is the plugin for the Airbus. So do you have that CEF folder within Explain Resources plugins?
Affirmative, yes.
Okay. And then the aircraft, as long as it's in the aircraft folder, it should be fine. I have mine in the extra aircraft, and I just renamed it to my current beta build, which is 11.3. And there's really nothing else, you know, file-wise that you need to make that work.
So I just, I downloaded the aircraft into, the aircraft folder, opened up the aircraft folder, opened up the plugins, and dragged the CFE file in there, CEF file in there.
Yeah, I think there's two files I download. So one of them is a plugin, and you have to open up the plugins folder and then drag over the CEF folder. So just make sure that there's not a folder within a folder.
Gotcha.
So I mean, it literally has to read um, just like here, CEF. You open it, and then it's all this other type code stuff in there. So if you show another folder, then it's not correct. Some people have actually moved over the entire folder which contained the CEF folder.
Can you just go
So
back one? Yeah. Go open up your plugin folder
yeah, that's what
in
I'm in
in
right
the
now.
in the aircraft, right?
Well, the aircraft, let me see.
So I put the CEF folder in the aircraft plugin
No. That's
folder.
where you're
Oh,
wrong. And a lot of people do that. So you need to use see, I don't have anything in there except for my BSS sounds. So you need to move that CEF folder out of the aircraft plugins folder and into the regular Explain resources plugins folder. So that CEF folder goes in the same structure that you would have like your AutoGate, better pushback ground handling, PilotEdge. It's your basic Explain plugins folder that CEF goes in. That CEF file is basically the flight physics or the flight model. That's why it doesn't really matter that much when X-Plane updates because the flight model is being used through this plugin, through the X-Plane plugins folder. So that's why you're getting the green screens because that CEF is in the wrong plugins folder. Now I'm going to go to liveries where I get United going. I'm going to start getting this thing turned over while you.
Dave, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
You're 5x5. Let me go to ground handling, control panel. He apparently is excited to see you. Just a little bit. Wife just got home from work, so my dogs are all like, yay. It's either mommy's home or mommy's going to feed us dinner. Yeah, that too. He was all over that.
I'm on push to talk, so if you don't hear something, so for some reason push to talk, so you don't hear my dogs.
Okay. I have push to mute activated, so when I'm keying up on ATC, it will mute. But yeah, that was definitely your problem, Joe. Is you had the CEF in the
Negative.
wrong
Nah,
folder.
that didn't work.
It, but was it in? Was the
I had,
CEF in the airplane plugin folder?
I just moved it in there. I took it out of the aircraft plugin folder, and I moved it into the X-Plane root folder.
No, 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 no. The X-Planes
Root folder.
plugins.
Yeah, in the resources plugins.
Right.
Yeah, X-Plane resources plugins in there.
Now the let me show you this one more time again. So in your plugins, you have CEF. It doesn't like you don't want any folder before it, just the CEF. So if you open up the CEF folder, it looks like this, right? You've got all
Exactly.
this code.
Exact.
Oh,
I'm right underneath better pushback, just like you.
okay. All right. So that should do it. Except
And then when I open up the CEF folder, I see exactly what you're saying.
okay. So then when you get into the aircraft, you should only have to add the GPU, and then you come to the top here and you turn on your batteries and connect the external power. So basically you just want to have the McDo turned on. And then the McDo is where you'll activate it.
The problem is the airplane is floating in the air. You don't see all of the livery, and then when I go into the aircraft, all the buttons are green. So something is not going on here. I'll take a picture.
Okay, yeah. Trying to think. Do you have the experimental flight box checked by any chance?
Negative.
All right, so this is just stock X-plane. You're not using a beta, right?
Correct.
I have no idea then. That's going to be a ticket for Flight Factor because now if you can update it, I would just re-download from the store a fresh copy, and then before you load the aircraft, use the let me see where that updater file is. So you've got aircraft. So you go into the root folder of the Airbus, and then you have the X updater client. I'm not going to double click it because I think that will show my key, but so you would actually I right click on the X updater client and then I run as administrator, and then that will bring up a new window that will ask you if you want to update the aircraft, and then you click on the box that will have beta, but I don't want to do it because I'm not sure what that will show. But try that, like just do a fresh download of the entire thing, move over the aircraft, and like I did here, you can name it whatever you want. I just have it named as the current beta that I'm using, and then move the CEF folder into the resources. Then try to use the updater within the root folder of the aircraft and update it to the current beta, which should be 11.6, maybe 7.
Gotcha.
And then And then like you already downloaded that other thing, what's it called? A Fiverr, you gave me something. I'm gonna um, so it says I got an emote thanks to Fiverr. What does that mean, bud? Oh, you subscribed again for 2 months. So I have to look at two different things to figure out what's going on. So I get it. Thanks for the resubscription there, Fiverr. Much appreciated, bud. Trying to get Mr. Joe squared away, so because he just bought this airplane. All right, so I'm gonna get this thing started over here. Get my stream overlay going, and I think I'm already logged in. Yep, PilotEdge. Bring up some tracking. Yeah, before you even try to open up the plane, Joe, just reinstall it, update it, then try it. And move out all the plugins that are not being used. Like if you don't need a plugin, just move it out for right now while you're trying to get that Airbus loaded.
That's what I'm going to do next. I'll shut down every plugin.
Yeah, I only load plugins that I need for the specific flight that I want to do, because it really helps knock down the interference.
Stress on next plane.
Yeah, it's like some plugins just cause other issues with other plugins, and that's why I only run bare minimum when it comes to scenery and stuff like that. Only what I need for that flight do I load.
Yeah, I noticed that's what you do. I know that's a good idea.
Trying to get Navigraph charts to load on my laptop. This is giving me a fit. All right, now I'm cooking. All right, so let's come over here and see what we got. So I'm gonna file this. Let's file this flight plan. So we're gonna do 104 passengers. Now this is how I do my weight and balance. I just use a anywhere between 80 and 134, 136 passengers, and then so this is like 104, so then I'll just put a dot. So cargo 10.4, so 10,400 pounds of cargo. If it was, 112 passengers, then my way of doing it is 11.2 a cargo. That's just how I do it. That's
fine.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't. That's just up to, in particular, personal preferences, really. So we'll put that back, and then I'm going to do flight level 290. I always go with a CI of 100 for this airplane. So we'll get our fuel, and then this airplane uses kilograms, I think it's called. So I bring up a converter from kilograms to pounds. So like my fuel, so it's 10,360, so that's 10, so I'll just round that up, 360, so that's 4,699 kilograms. So I'll round that up to 4,700 kilograms of fuel. That way it's an even number to put in the McDo, so 4.7 will give me 10,361 pounds of fuel, so that's just what I need. That's including the alternate. And then zero fuel weight, it's already calculating in my passengers, so 125.2. So that's 56,789. 25.2. Yeah, 56,789, and then I put that in my calculator because I'm going to need that shortly. And then we'll come down here, we'll check out ATIS. So we got 3006 at altimeters, 3006. Current with ATIS Quebec, and that's at Casper. And the runway they're using is 21. So at least I have an idea. And then we're going to file an IFR on PilotEdge. So for that, I'm going to want let's do the Casper 3, and also I need to check to see which direction Denver is landing, because that will determine the. Alright, so it's not going to be Tishner. It's going to be the other star for landing north. So that would be the Molten 3. And then we'll. Alright, so Casper 3, Molten 3. So we're going to land north with the Molten 3. CPR to Denver.
So what I was talking about before was an API key, which gives you the ability to have Google Maps on the EFB in the airplane.
Is it so? It's like an add-on or something? Against late stream, yeah, I'll tell you about that. There's a reason for a late stream. So is that an add-on for this?
It gets programmed in the McDo. So yeah, I'll send you a link to it and
Yeah.
with instructions, because it gives you another dimension.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I've never used that before. It's pretty interesting. Learn something new every day. All right, so I think I'm ready. So we'll file that away. But yeah, I'll explain that in a little bit. Good against. All right, so fuel. So here's another thing with this EFB when you're doing the fuel and the passengers and all that. It's weird. So you highlight the fuel that you want, right? You move your mouse out and then back in. So you'll see this blue bracket around the outside, blue border actually. So it will disappear and reappear. If you don't do that, you can't type inside the box. It's a bug that hasn't been fixed yet that I'm aware of. But someone taught me that. So then you click set, and that will set your fuel, and then I can remove that. So same thing, but as long as you stay in the box, you don't have to change anything. So 104 passengers, and then I'll move my cargo to 1,000, and then perf data, and then I got the zero fuel weight up here. Well, the zero fuel weight for SimBrief calls for 56,789. So I'll take that, subtract what I currently have, which is 50,980. And then I'm going to add back in the 1,000 that I still have in cargo. So that comes to 6809 set. So the perf data should match SimBrief of 56789. You don't see that number too often. So then I know I need this number for the McDo. So it'd be 56.8, because I'm going to round it up. And then 26.3. And then up 0.4. So I need 3 numbers off of this. This one, 56.8, because I'm going to round it up because of this 8-digit. And I need the 0 fuel weight CG, 26.3. And then this is the trim. And then this CG you'll get on the McDo after engine start. So now all the loading is done. I also downloaded some United liveries for these ground guys, which is kind of cool. This is a new United livery for me as well. It's on the org, which actually does a good job with showing the dirt on the wings, and even the engine is dirty. It's good livery for if it's raining or something, make it more authentic. So now we get the APU going. You hear you just muted your mic? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, just so you know, I'm here. I'm listening. If I have a question, if you don't mind, I'll jump in and ask.
Yeah, no problem. And Fiverr says, I think they fixed that in the latest update. Yeah, that's good, because I mean, I'm used to the fix now, but for a while there, I was just having to use the sliders only because I didn't know the trick. And then someone showed me how to do that trick. But yeah, something as little as that can cause a big headache. So I'll check the bleeds.
I also love the. Did you change the color of the interior?
I didn't. No, there's that one mod, Mustavo mod, I think it's called, but it requires no texture condensing or whatever that word would be. So I don't use any mods for the inside, just, external liveries. But there is a mod that is very good for like lighting, but you have to have your these is which one is, oh, texture quality. It has to be on full high for that one mod to work. So I don't mess with that because the whole computer would seize up on me if I did that. Alright, APU gen's available, so we'll disconnect external power. We'll remove the GPU. And we are at gate 3, I think. There's no GPS coordinates for this terminal, so we don't have to worry about punching in the right GPS stuff. Yes, I do have BBS sounds, Kenra. Yeah, I love the BBS sounds. It really adds to the immersion. All right, so the first thing you do for the McDo, click Init, and you type where you are, where you want to go. So CPR, and we're going to go to Denver. So that comes up there. And I'm not going to worry about a company route. So we'll do United 1399. Cost index, I always run with a 150 because I don't worry about fuel. I want fast. I don't pay for the fuel, so why have a low cost index? So 150 will give you full speed ahead. And then we'll go to IRS init. So as long as these two match. So I need to bring
Being
it.
counted as a corporate, be kind of upset with you.
Yeah, I know, right? Saving the imaginary gas costs. On my King Air, I use the FBO's actual jet fuel cost just so I could see how much a flight in that would actually cost since it has the fuel truck and everything that will show you the cost. It's a pretty cool feature to that Airfoil Labs King Air. All right, so if you don't have any GPS coordinates available to read in the Navigraph charts, then you just match whatever the reference is. I mean, whatever the GPS, the reference is the airport. So as long as it's close, you know you're at the right airport. Then you align on reference, and then hold off from putting in your altitude until you have your clearance. So that will start the aligning process. And with the BBS sounds, you put those to full on. Open up the window. Open up that door. Bring up some lighting. Okay. So ATIS at Casper. $26.15. Now, here's another trick for this airplane. Lift up that handle there. So you have, most people are familiar with these knobs, you know, mute the comm and then the volume. So PilotEdge will allow you to control the comm volume with these. If you try to fly this on VATSIM with XPilot, the only way to key up is to mash that VHS button. If that button is not mashed, then you can't transmit. So for XPilot, you need to mash that one. But for PilotEdge, it doesn't matter. You can have it on or off. And I'll monitor COM 2 for ATIS. So we'll get that now. And like I said, I can adjust this. I can adjust the volume.
Runways 2126. Visual approaches in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Quebec.
They're still with Quebec, so nothing's changed. So ground control is 0.9er and tower is 18.3.
Just a quick question.
Go ahead, bud.
When you say mash the button, are you talking about the rotator knob on the radio panel or the green indicator light?
The one right here, it's what's that say? VH. So you see this one, it says VHF1?
Yeah, so that the indicator light has to be on, correct?
Correct. Now it doesn't matter for PilotEdge, but if you want to fly this plane on VATSIM using the XPilot client, which is what I use, you have to have that on to transmit. Otherwise, you won't. The TX light won't actually light up unless this is armed. But PilotEdge, I just leave it off. I don't need it.
2271, turn left heading 190, descend to maintain 3000.
Alright, so Casper's altitude is 5344, so that matches. That matches. And let's get our clearance, which should be the Molten 3. We'll see if that changes. Good evening, Casper Ground, United 1399 at the terminal with Quebec, IFR Denver.
Yeah, 1399 Casper Ground, cleared to Denver Airport, Casper 3 departure, radar vectors, medicine. Actually, stand by one moment. I'm going to put you on a bit of a different small change. Stand by.
Roger. So that's why you don't say request clearance as filed, because I didn't get what I filed. So there's no point in saying as filed, because it's more like a negotiation. But DDY was what I had in there for the
Roger,
VOR.
1399 is 8 miles from Powell's. Turn left heading 130, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer. Clear the ILS
I
runway.
thought he was talking to me there for a second. I'm like, how am I going to turn for a localizer?
Affirmative, 2271, left turn heading 130.
Once I get my clearance, then we can finish programming the flight plan, because there's really no point in doing a flight plan until you know.
United 1399, Casper clearance, clear to Denver Airport. Casper 3 departure, radar vectors, Medicine Bow VOR. That's Mike Bravo Whiskey. OPI, Oscar, Papa, Papa, Echo, Echo. Molten 3 arrival. Climb and maintain 14,000. Expect flight level 290, 10 minutes after departure. Casper departure frequency 120.65, squawk 2133.
Cleared to Denver via the Medicine Ball VOR, and then OPPEE to join the Molten 3 arrival. I forgot the Casper 3 part, but anyway, 14,000, expect 290, 10 minutes after. Casper departure 120.65, squawk 2133, United 1399.
United 1399, read back is correct.
Alright, okay, so that's why I don't say as filed at the end, because I got nothing that I filed except for the star. I did get the Molten 3. Alright, so GPS is primary. That just means that all the IRS is aligned. We are clear to cruise of 290, so we'll punch that in. That will automatically give you the cruise temperature at that altitude, so you don't have to look that up. Then we go to flight plan. And if I go too fast, Joe, just let me know. I'll slow it down. So we start with CPR.
2271,
and I'm going to mute
123.
I'm going to mute comms. So we're going to depart, and we're going to plan for 2-1, temporary. So it's no real SID, because the SID is just radar vectors for the Casper 3. That's why it's not in there. I'll show you that SID. That's not really much to it. So now we need to put in those other waypoints. So Medicine Ball, let me write that down, I'll forget. Alright, so we're gonna do MBW, and that just goes right there in the discontinuity, or what? I cannot talk today. And then OPP EE. Alright, so we've added those. If I was going to do an airway, then you would just click, like if there was an airway from this VOR, you would just click on it, and then you would go to airways and you would enter the airway to the VOR that way. But we don't need an airway. So then we're going to do the Molten 3, which is going to be for north ops. So we're going to shoot for 3-5 left. We'll do ILS 3-5 left on the Molten 3. And let me see if that has trying to see if that has a transition or not. So I need it from Wookiee. Oh no, it's from OP. So oh, okay. So OP, that's a full approach. I don't need that. So this is trying to give you full approaches, which would be off in ILS. So we can just hit the return. To get the transition for the Molten 3, you have to use the right arrow button, and now it will come up with the transitions. Otherwise, you just use the arrow, because sometimes they won't show up right away, so you just have to arrow key it over. So we're going to join from OPI, temporary, and then so it's a repeat. So he gave me that as my, basically the IAF for that star. So I'm just going to clear out the one that he gave me and stick with the one on the star. So we'll get rid of the disco. And then that will bring us all the way down to a manual, which is radar vectors. So with an Airbus, anytime you have radar vectors for an ILS or whatever, you're going to show a manual. There will always be a disco. It's not like a Boeing where you get rid of all discos. With an Airbus, you can't get rid of it. So same thing up, well, sometimes the SID will have a manual afterward, and that will break it by a disco also. So there you go. So that's the flight plan. Got the Molten 3 all the way down for the ILS 3.5. So after you get that plugged in, then you go to init, and you want to do wind, and you got to do this stuff in this order. So the first thing you do is your flight plan. Get rid of all discos that you can. Make sure everything looks good. Then you go to init and you grab the winds next. So you got to do flight plan and then winds. Wind request, next phase, next phase. Sometimes you won't have the ability to phase through it twice. Then you go to init, page 2. Page 2 is always this arrow. And now you can enter in those weights that you got from over here. So I'm going to add in 56.8 and 26.3, and the fuel of 4.7. So that's what I'm going to put in for the weight. For the weight and fuel, so that was 56.8 slash 26.3. And since this is recording, Joe, if you need me to go over something again so that way you can look back at the recording afterward, just feel free to jump in and say, hey, can you show me that again? That way you can go back and review it.
Thank you.
No problem. And then I'll upload this to YouTube also, so this will be up by tomorrow on my YouTube channel. Right, so we got 4.7, that will populate all of your time. So we're looking at 30 minutes of extra flying time. We've got 1 ton of fuel estimated on our arrival. So the next thing you want to do, we did wind, we did weight, now we need to do perf. So this thrust reduction acceleration is for climb thrust, for this climb detent right here on the throttle. So this will default at 1000 AGL above ground level, not MSL but AGL. So it will default because the ground altitude at Casper, so it takes it from the nav data. Casper is 5344. So basically it rounded it up and gave 1,000 feet. So I'm going to lower this by 1. So 5840. I'm going to change that. So what that's going to do is I'll get the notification in the here from flex. It will go to climb thrust at 500 AGL because I changed it. So if I wanted it to go to climb thrust at 1,000 feet, then I just would leave that as 6840. This number tells the computer when to go to climb thrust. So I prefer 500 AGL. So I'm going to leave the takeoff perf blank for right now. Initial speed for climb out is 200 knots, so I'm going to do a pre-select of 200. That way I don't overspeed the flaps by accident, and then I can take that out whenever I want. And then go all the way to approach. So we're going to plan for an ILS 35 left, which is probably a Cat 3, which it is. So any Cat 3 auto land available ILS for decision altitude, you just type in no. That means none. You don't need a decision altitude for a Cat 3 with the Airbus. If you had a decision altitude of 100 radar, this is radar, this is MDA. You don't need to put them both, only radar for an ILS. An RNAV, RMP, then you would put in an MDA because that's required. So this is the go around, same thing, 500 AGL. So I'm going to drop that 6 to a 5. 5930, 5930. So I'm done. So now I'm going to put this to plan mode. Pop that out. And we're going to go through mainly the star. So we'll do Denver, arrival, Molten 3 from Opie. So Hyman is 270. It's already got it in there. Altitude constraint plus FL 270. So the lines underneath, you know it's plus. If the line was above it, then it would be minus. There is no speed constraint, but if you wanted to put one in, you could. Otherwise, the computer will take care of all the speeds. And then Sawyer, up arrow, will go down the list. Molten is above 190, so it shows flight level 259. That's only because Molten has to be above flight level 190. So if you were to click there, it would show 190. So this is it does an outstanding job for punching in all of these altitude restrictions. Whenever you see this little magenta star, you know it's looking for restrictions on the Eric cycle. So Rams, 250 knots. It's already got it plugged in there. Between 17,000 and 22,000. So it automatically has it in there. Pulls it right from the Eric. Same thing with the speed, 250 knots. All the way down to say Hyman at 11,000 at 210 knots. And then after Waskell or whatever, it should be manual. So here's Waskell, and then it shows 9,000, but we're going to stop at 11,000 because the star won't allow me to descend further than that. And then you got manual because we're going to be vectored for the ILS, which is Selby at 9,000 intercept. So the star is good. Hey Gizmo, how you doing, bud? So we'll pop that back in that 20, like it on arc mode. And then I think we have to do performance next. Flex. Alright, so let's figure out performance. So perf data, takeoff weight is gross weight. This is the takeoff weight. And kilograms, 61489. So that's 135,560, I'm sorry, 135,560 pounds. 135,000 pounds. So then we'll come over to, alright, so we got Casper. We're probably going to use, what did ATIS say? 2-1. So we're going to use 2-1. We're here at the terminal. So we're going to be taking off via the Casper 3 departure, which, like I said, is just radar vectors. So we're going to climb out on, he's going to assign us a heading to take off between 195 to 032 clockwise. So basically from the south to the 1 o'clock position. He'll give us a heading anywhere out this way for runway 21. Maintain 14,000, which I think he gave me as an altitude. Yep. So that the SID is pretty basic on this. And then we need the runway information for 21. So bring up the airport information, come down to 21, look for the takeoff distance available for runway 21, which happens to be the same as the LDA, which is landing distance available. So we'll copy that with a heading of 212. Come over here to this website, bring in CPR, we'll bring in the weather, match it with my weather. It's 3006, temperature's 2, winds are 220 at 15. By the way, you should be able to grab that website, Joe. I just put a link up. And then, so here's the takeoff weight that I just calculated. Takeoff weight, and then it was 212. It's giving me a fit. There we go. Calculate. Now we got our ref speeds here. So flex temperature 64. V1 148. It's 148 across the board. Come back in here. So now that we have our performance, we can go back to the perf data and be 148. The runway or winds change significantly. We'll double check all this. And we even tell you to make sure, right before we take off, we'll double check everything. So that's your V speeds and your D-rated temperature for takeoff. And that's pretty much it for McDo setup. So let's turn on our fuel pumps, all 6 of them. Now, for the autopilot setup, it's so simple. Click this little inside ring, and that will put it to 1,000 increments. Then just use the mouse wheel. Mouse wheel scroll up to 14,000. These dots mean managed mode, so everything is in managed mode, which is perfectly fine. On this, you'll see climb and nav are indicated in blue, so that means the autopilot is ready to go. You can put on this button for altitude. It will show the restrictions on here. It shows 6830 that we'll climb for. I'll leave that off until we get to the star. Yeah, we'll go to the ground handling. Tell everybody to drive away. It's got the United symbol. This is a new download for me. I mean, not the plugin itself, but the delivery for that is pretty cool. Now, you'll notice on the hydraulics on this, the brake pressure is low. I'm not certain if this is for steering. I think the brakes are on the bottom. I think this might be for the front gear, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So maybe someone can let me know, but I do know how to fix it. So you bring up the hydraulic on the eCam, pop that out, and then you come up here to the yellow pump. It's a control panel for yellow hydraulic. So we'll turn on the electric pump, bring it up to 3,000 psi, and then turn it back off. That will pressurize, and it'll put all of your brakes into the green. We'll put that back on the electric page. Alright, so now we need to get ready for taxi, so we'll get rid of the chocks, close all of our doors. And we'll do an emergency generator test. Flip that open and press and hold for about 4 seconds. Then shut that little thing. You'll get a couple alarms. You just clear them out. Wait for that to go back to normal. You'll have one more red. So you come down here to the clear button and you press and hold the clear button for about a second. And when you do that, it will clear out that last warning. And then the status is normal. And then we'll pop out the engine display and we'll check FADEC. So this checks the engine displays up here just to make sure they're both working, and then you can turn them off because they'll turn on when you start the ignition. Otherwise they remain off. Shut that door, we'll lock it. We'll ask
Yes,
the
Captain.
mechanic
We are
to
waiting for your
check our
instruction.
doors.
Ground to flight deck. All holds and hatches are closed. Walk round complete.
Start our pushback to, I don't even know where I'm at on this terminal. I think I'm straight. Do I need to go? Which way do I need to push? I need to go to my left.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Just basically push straight back, that's fine.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
We'll lower the lights inside the cabin so it's not so bright. So that way it's kind of a dim light interior, not so bright. But you can change that to like super bright. It's just like daylight up in here. Next thing you want to do is go to your, well, you want to close the window. Oh, let me show you how to do that, Joe. That will give you a fit. To open this window, it's easy. You just click on the handle. But to close it, see how I'm clicking on this handle? It's not shutting the window. That's because there's this little tiny switch. You got to click that switch. Now click the handle and it will close. Do the same thing with this. You'll know if you forget because the plane won't pressurize. So you come down here to Init, page 2 of Init. Fuel is right here, fuel on board, 4540. So I'm going to lower that. We'll err on the side of caution and we'll do 4.5 for fuel status.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted.
So I'm going to update the block fuel. That will update all my times and you'll leave it there on this page. That will automatically roll to the fuel prediction page upon engine start. So now we'll check some fire alarms for both engines. So maybe it is
Starting pushback, and
All right.
you may start engines.
beacon light comes on. go to ignition 2. I'll turn the engine display. I like to monitor hydraulics on the bottom, engine up top. And then you'll just hit engine 2. You'll see at 20 and 2, the engine will start to come alive. Hydraulics are coming online. Alright, when available means generators available for engine 2.
Complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
So let's start engine 1.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Can't really see it with the nighttime. The sounds are really decent with this BSS. It's a tight month to buy any add-ons for sure, but this is a great add-on to BSS for this. It's like 20 bucks on the org, I think. Alright, so we have 2 good engines, generators available. Ignition to normal.
And bypass bin has been removed.
Flaps 1, spoilers armed. That will give you a 1+F takeoff configuration, which is the only time you'll see the 1+F is for takeoff. Otherwise, it would only be slats or flaps. So you have one of each for takeoff config with this plane. And then that goes back to normal, and now we need to turn on the, I think the crew supply oxygen might be on for your version. And then we'll check wipers. Speaking of wipers, that would be in settings. And you can change your rain effect here. And then when you hit apply, you're going to have to restart the sim for it to take effect. But I think by default, the rain effect might be turned off. And then I leave reflections off, panels quality high. And trim, I have a worksheet that I use for that. So I have a CG at 25.9 right here. So 25.9, it's basically 26, so I want a trim of up 0.5. So perf, 1 notch of flaps, up 0.5, that goes there. And then you use your trim. This plane has an auto trim. Takes a little getting used to. I'll walk you through the takeoff. The takeoff is weird with the auto trim. Alright, so trim is set. Let's check controls. So you click on the control button. Check right and left. Check your speed brakes. Rudder. Leave it on engine. Turn on some taxi lights. Turn off the APU. Turn on the probe heat, window heat. For the landing lights, I do 1 click because that will set the landing lights. It won't turn them on. I'm getting a feedback, Joe. Somehow I hear myself. I don't know if it's something on your end or I don't hear it now. Anyway,
we have Brad with us from M9 Aviation. He's in the chat room with us also.
Oh, okay. That's probably what it was then. I don't hear myself talking now, so. But anyway, here's the landing light. So it actually drops down out of the wing. Like if I can, see if I can go back to that. See, now it's not there. So the first notch only drops them down. It doesn't turn them on, but it gets them prepped for takeoff. And then we'll get our
runways
ATIS.
2126. Visual approaches in use.
Do terrain
Read back all
mode.
runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Quebec.
ATIS is still with Quebec.
Casper Natrona County International Airport. ATIS
So I like to
information,
monitor
Quebec.
guard on
225
COM 2, so I'm going to
Zulu.
dial in guard,
Wind
which is
210 at
121.5.
15. Visit
Quebec, it's the same, so everything's the same. That means altimeter's the same. Now for a transponder to put in the code, you have to hit clear twice. If you just hit clear once, it only clears one key or whatever. So you got to hit it twice, and then mine is 2133. So clear, 2133, and then skip auto, put it to on, that one to all, and then that one to TXRA or whatever it is. So far right, one notch to all, far right. Those are the three knobs, and you hit clear twice to dial in a squawk code. So now we're squawking Charlie. We're squawking altitude. We check ECAM. So we have a cabin check that we can do real quick. So that's on the FAP. Cabin ready. I'll click that, green light. Now the cabin ready light is gone. I think your version has this fixed, but I get a fault until I turn it back on. That's for the cargo heat. And let me see which way I'm going to turn here. Probably left. Casper ground, United 1399 at the terminal, Kurtwood, Quebec, ready to taxi. Should be 2-1 via Alpha, I reckon. Oh, I muted him. Casper ground, United 1399, located at the terminal with Quebec. I had it muted by accident.
1399 Casper ground, runway 21, taxi via Alpha, and across runway 26 on Alpha.
Runway 21 via Alpha, across 26 at Alpha, United 1399. All right.
Sacramento ground, Twilight 47, Sacramento Jet Center with Hotel taxi.
Do my track IR. I have track IR on a
47 exactly
on a
ground
key bind.
feet across
So that way I
at
can turn
November.
it.
You want to head all the way down the mic?
All right, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I guess it's probably easier to go in November for
I'm gonna go left.
Twilight 47.
Twilight 47, can you just confirm that you have clearance with the hangars up on the north side of November Delta intersection?
Yeah, we'll be able to get over there for Twilight 47.
Twilight 47, runway 20, taxi via November and Delta across runway 12.
Alright, 20 to November Delta cross 12 for Twilight 47, thank you.
I don't know why I've been having fits with it, even on my laptop, trying to get it to sync up with the Navigraph Symlink. Be right back. All right, bud. It's not connecting to the... I think Navigraph is just having issues. It's definitely not me. My internet strength is... It's fine on the stream, so that's not it.
Sacramento Executive Tower, TBM 915, taking Bravo 10 miles to the south, inbound full stop hotel.
We're 915 Tango Bravo Executive Tower, north downwind, runway 20, reported midfield.
Left downwind for runway 20, and we'll call you midfield, Tango Bravo.
So Ginnigans, if you're still around, I'm not sure if you are, but the reason I'm doing such a late stream, doing this assisted flight for Mr. Joe was just an afterthought because my internet, cable, TV, everything took a nosedive this morning. First thing this morning, so I was on the phone with Comcast all morning. Finally, I got 2 crews to come out to get everything fixed. Apparently, there was a box on the pole that went bad. So whatever junction box or whatever they use to supply my services just crapped out, so they had to get not the regular technician, he's the one that diagnosed it, but another technician, here's 26, who gave me permission to pass that. So the other guys came out and they had to replace the box.
Approaching 2.
So now, actually my internet download speed is actually better than what it was before, so I guess the faulty box was actually hurting my download speed, so I can't complain when something positive came out of it at the end. But yeah, I was frustrated this morning for sure. Same day. Well, yeah, they originally told me tomorrow, but then I called like 3 times. So, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I've learned that a long time ago. So I am that guy. But you know what? I got it done today. So sometimes it pays off to be a pain in someone's butt. They got 2 crews out same day. Plus I started hammering, you know, first thing this morning. But it's like, might as well not even have water. I mean, these days, you lose internet and TV, it's like the dark ages. Alright, so we've got a couple checks to do. So, auto brake is right here. So we go max. That's for takeoff. And then we have a takeoff config test, which is this button down here.
Tower, good afternoon, wind calm.
Right here's your takeoff config test button, so you match that. So that means everything's green and normal. We'll do a system check, everything is normal. We'll go back to engine, so now we're going to check our perf data for takeoff. So I'm going to go real quick, look at the perf data. Winds are still the same, temperature is the same.
Report left downwind 1 departure prior to arrival.
Oh, I know why Navigraphs ain't working. I need to re-enter my username password real quick.
5 Tango Bravo, report turning left base 1 departure prior to arrival.
Let me find that real quick.
We'll call turn left base, thanks, Tango Bravo.
Should make sure I'm not streaming this. That would suck. Navigraph, okay. Although it does, I think it blocks out the password as I'm typing it in.
Leader 448, contact Salt Lake City approach 128.1.
I have like a worksheet with
Flight Air 448,
Oh, my
Salt Lake City
password's
approach
on
on
it.
128.128.1.
Indicative tower,
Valid
TBM 115
user
Bravo, turning left
credentials.
base.
5 Tango Bravo, wind calm, runway 20, clear to land.
Oh, I misspelled my
Runway 20, clear to
username.
land, 5 Tango Bravo, thank you.
Alright. There we go. Now that should work. So you want to check the perf data before you roll.
Flight Air 448, Salt Lake City approach, altimeter 3028, information Alpha Square, expect vectors ILS. Runway 16 right approach.
Now I should. Yep, there it goes. So now it's working. I just had to re-enter that thing. Alright, so we got landing lights, strobes, wing lights. Let the crew know we're gonna take off. I'll go through last minute checks. I'll turn on that. Auto brake on. Signs, spoilers
Flight
are
Air
armed.
448, descend V to Delta 5
Flaps
arrival.
are set. Takeoff config is normal. Packs will turn them off. We'll switch to tower and departure is 120.65.
Tower, November 7270 Juliet, ready 20.
Alright, so we are ready.
Executive, Challenger 7, Sierra Juliet, Executive Tower, hold short, landing traffic.
Hold short, 7270 Juliet.
Challenger 47, contact departure.
Alright, over to departure, Twilight 47.
Casper Tower, United 1399, holding short 21. It's gonna give me a heading, I think.
Twilight 47, NorCal departure, radar contact, climb maintain level 190.
Did say 21, yeah.
Challenger 7, Sierra Juliet, runway 20, line of point.
20, line of await, 7270 Juliet.
Air 5 Tango Bravo, right turn when able, taxi to ramp via Mike, remain as frequency.
Vacate Juliet, would like to taxi back to the active if we could, 5 Tango Bravo.
Air 5 Tango Bravo, runway 20, taxi via Mike, across runway 12 on Mike.
2015.
Runway 20 via Mike, cross 12 on Mike, thanks, 5 Tango Bravo.
I don't think you heard me.
United 1399.
Oh, you did? Okay. You did hear me.
Casper Tower, runway 21, line of point.
Runway 21, line up and wait, United 1399. Alright, brakes off, so we'll push our way up. We'll turn the packs off when we're starting to roll down. We've got landing lights and all that are on. No one's coming to land on top of us, so that's always good.
1399, wind is 22014, runway 21, clear for takeoff.
Runway 21, clear for takeoff, United 1399.
Approaching 21.
Alright, so packs can come off.
Twilight 47, proceed direct to Linden, resume on navigation. Number 7, Sierra Juliet.
Thing with this plane,
Number 7,
when you
Sierra
take
Juliet,
off, you
wind
kind
calm,
of
runway
pull
20,
back
clear
on
for
the
takeoff.
stick or the yoke, whichever you prefer using
20, clear for
twice.
takeoff, you want us
On
to
runway
fly heading.
21.
And this is
7 Sierra Juliet, sorry about that. Fly heading 150, runway 20, clear for
do
takeoff.
runway heading.
150, 20, clear for
So
takeoff.
we'll set the runway heading right there.
Thanks.
We'll do 50% power. Engines are stable, so now you move the little engine things all the way to this
Number 5 Tango Bravo, you're going to be ready
orange
again.
marker,
We'll need a better meet up for 5 Tango Bravo.
and that will
Roger,
give you
clear
the flex 64 indicator right there. SRS is displayed, that's what you want. I'm kind of all over the place, but that's all right. And then at rotate, you're gonna pull back just a little bit on the yoke because this thing will want to go right to the moon. So pull back a little bit and then let off. If you don't let off, you're gonna just go straight up to the moon. So you gotta be very, very sensitive. All right, gear up. And then you get, now I'm at the point where the auto trim, see how it's turning on its own? I don't even have the autopilot on yet. So now I have climb, lever, climb, whatever. So I bring back the throttle to climb, and then autopilot on. And then, so I turned on the autopilot, and then I down arrowed the heading. So the packs are yelling at me. Undo the spoilers, which is right there.
Take it to tower, TBM 915, Bravo, ready to go.
I'm back, just so back in the top.
Alright, so now that pre-designated 200 knot automatically pops up. So it will hold me at 200 knots.
Confirm you're squawking 7332.
Still 1 plus F. And go to plan mode on this one. Drag it all the way out so I can see situational. He's going to turn me to the left because of that. And I'll add in.
Your altitude?
Let's add in 220 because at 215.
Okay,
we're going to lose the flaps automatically. I won't touch anything, but the flaps will retract at 215 knots.
On the arrival. Do you see
the flaps here? They're gonna. There they go. So that works automatically, and so the slats will stay in. And if I want to go faster, then you got to take out the rest of the flaps, which would take out the slats.
United 1399, contact departure.
Over to departure, United 1399. See ya. Alright, so now we're going to Cascade departure. Cascade departure, United 1399. Casper 3, 11,200 for 14,000.
1247, say your altitude.
Turn that off.
Okay, you're supposed to be stopping at 230, confirm.
Engines are fine,
okay,
so I'm
no
going to go to pressurization.
Flight level 3
ECAM.
50.
Turn off the lighting.
1247, contact Oakland Center 127.45.
Just going to hold it at 220 because I'm still not on course.
United 1399.
Really compare the Boeing against the Airbus. The Airbus really is a really far superior aircraft as far as simplicity.
Systems, yeah. Sorry, United 1399, 14,000.
United 1399, Casper departure, radar contact, climb and maintain flight level 230.
Climb maintain flight level 230, United 1399. If he doesn't turn me. Alright, so I upped the altitude. So to climb without vertical speed or anything is like IAS mode, really. It will manage the climb by just doing one click down arrow. So you can control the rate by speed at that point. And
Challenger 70 Juliet, turn left direct to Linden, climb maintain level 230.
I'm going to go ahead and increase the speed to 250 knots. I'm going to take out the rest of the flaps, which will be flap 0, take out the slats.
Air 5 Tango Bravo, roger, the wind 1704, runway 20, make straight out departure, clear for takeoff.
We'll turn on the weather radar. So it's minus and plus. I use minus for display 1.
Lead Air 448, set to maintain 8,000.
So during the climb out, you're not using manage mode speed?
Down to 8,000 for
I will,
air taxi.
but right now I'm just on
Go for
runway
it.
heading. He hasn't even
The air
given me
taxi or elite air? I got
a direct
elite
to
air.
any waypoint. So right
Elite
now
air,
the computer
1,000 to
doesn't
8,000.
have anything to manage other than the fact I want to climb to flight level 230. So
United 1399, turn left heading 130, direct Medicine wind able.
left turn 130, clear direct Medicine Ball, United 1399. All right, so now that manage mode will come into play, right? So I'm going to do left turn 130, just mouse wheel.
United 1399, climb maintain level 230, contact Denver Center 133.67.
I maintain flight level 230, Denver Center 13367, United 1399. All right, I'm at 18,000, so I'm going to go ahead and go to standard. Denver Center is 13367.
25.75, good day.
2575, take it easy.
I'll show you that managed thing here in a second. 13367 is Denver Center. You did say 230. Denver Center, United 1399, flight level 184 for 230.
Dave, you should really maybe mute us.
Yeah, 1399, Denver Center, roger.
You know, you talking to ATC because
Center, November 727, Sierra Juliet, 22-4, 230.
Citation 727, Sierra Juliet, Oakland Center, roger. Climb maintain level
You guys
390.
aren't talking that bad
and
or
short
that
stay,
much. I
contact
mean,
Oakland Center
it's not
127.45.
bothering me. Unless you guys want to have a, I mean, I can just lower my volume. It's not bothering me.
127.45 and
Alright, so I want to go direct to Medicine Ball.
Climb maintain level 390.
Alright, so let me show you how you do direct to Medicine Ball. So it's MBW. So you click direct, MBW, direct to insert, and it will automatically put it into manage mode, which is the circle, or the dot rather. And I'm going to climb to 230, so if I put that in manage mode, which is up arrow. Denver Center, United 1399. I think I stepped on you. It was flight level 209 for 230.
United 1399, affirmative, contact Denver Center on standby. United 1399, climb and maintain flight level 290.
Climb maintain flight level 290, United 1399, thanks. Let me lower this master sound to 45. Alright, so now I want manage mode because it will tell me my top of climb for 290. So you'll see this little mark that shows when I'll be at my top of climb. And that's 20 miles, that's 30 miles, so about 25 miles I'll be at 290. So I can extend that out by speeding up, right? So you do 280 and it just pushes it out. So I control my climb by speed for the altitude, because if you look at the McDo, it will give you your cruise time. Top of climb 0022, top of descent 0032, so that's a 10-minute cruise, which is perfectly fine by me. So now I'm climbing in manage mode, and like on a Boeing, the LNAV would be this little dot, so that means managed for that much. So I'm climbing to 280, and I think that's it for my takeoff checks. And I think you had a question about oh, the Airbus is, to me at least, far superior in the systems than any of the flight factor Boeings that I've flown. I mean, they're good, but this one is just, when it comes to hitting the altitude restrictions and the speed restrictions, especially when you're arriving into a terminal, you want to hit those restrictions right on the money. In this plane, I promise you, will hit those restrictions right on the money. All the other flight factor Boeings that I fly, I have to kind of keep an eye on it to make sure that it's doing what I want it to do. But otherwise, it's really good.
Yeah, it's almost
Approach cleared from Libby to the Sun Point Airport. Asphalt, climb 2000. Dispatch frequency is this frequency, squawk 2606.
Seatbelts to auto, that will get rid of that sign. This is your
412, readback is correct. We're revising
CAS
01 ready for
message
departure.
areas in this box.
Okay, and just a quick question as well. So climbing 12, so you don't want us to climb right instead? Like the ODP rather.
So, let's say we had to arrive.
Stand by 1 second.
On the, what is it going to be? 16 left. So while that thing is climbing, I'll show you something. So we are on the Molten 3.
Yes, Sky 412 is climb as described.
And we're going from Opie to Sawyer, from Sawyer to Waskell. So that's what's currently programmed in there, right? This is for South Ops. You always got to read the notes. This is turbojet aircraft only, so hence the airliner or any turbojet. Like no turboprops can fly this. Only turbojets. And then the reciprocal star for landing south would be the Tishner. So if we're going to land south, then we need to change up the arrival from Wookiee. So Wookiee, we can take up the Tishner, which is Tishner 3. So here's the Tishner 3. So from Wookiee, same as the Molten 3, and it goes to Rams, and then afterward it changes, right? So I'm going to have to add in a second flight plan for the Tishner 3 to join this, and then we would grab the 16 left approach, full approach from Tishner. So you see here, be a full approach, IAF for an ILS 16 left from Tishner, which matches exactly for the star, 13,210, 13,210. So that's what I need to program in now, just in case the operations change.
20 Delta Delta Squawk 5102 and maintain VFR.
5102 VFR 0 Delta Delta.
So I just changed the speed from manual to managed. So now I'm going to go to whatever the cost index was, which is, as you'll see, pretty much right at the limit of the airframe. So now we are heading direct to the start. So I'm gonna do a second flight plan to set up the other directions. We're gonna do copy active.
Contact 30 miles to the northeast of the Tuba City VOR and stay altitude.
Go to Denver, arrival, 16 left.
20 Delta Delta, Roger, cleared to the
via
Delta Victor Tango
Tishner
Airport, asphalt, climb and maintain level 240.
I don't want Molten.
Clear Deer Valley asphalt up to 240 Delta Delta.
This thing messed me up.
Lead Air 448, 15 miles from Binker. Maintain 6,000 tow established from a localizer cleared on us runway 16 right approach.
And what was it? It was Tishner, that's right. So I want to go down to Tishner 3 from Tishner.
So it's 3755, Capital clearance or request, standby.
16 left Tish, I just made this so difficult for you. Sorry about that. Via Tishner. All right, so with the Airbus, everything's up top, right? You have your approach, you have your via, which is your full approach. So I want to do ILS 16 left from Tishner via the Tishner 3 arrival with the OP transition.
Departure frequency.
So now I keep going back.
2545.
So there's OP. So I'm going to go back down and see if there's another OP because sometimes it does that whole thing. No, it didn't. All right, cool. So we can clear out medicine ball.
That was 3755. Read back correct.
So right side first, then left side, correct?
What do you mean on the second flight plan?
Yeah, you're entering runway first and then the...
Correct. I'm going straight to the airport. So you click on the airport on the bottom left for the destination. And then you click up here on the arrival. And then you look for, you know, this information. So it's runway, star, and then you can put this via in off of the star page or the runway page, and then the transition. So that's on there, and it actually will show you your top of descent and everything. Current position, the OP, and then I know that Wookie is the actual waypoint that I would switch it up. So since I don't need to use this arrival for anything before Wookie.
United 1399, descend and maintain flight level 230.
Descend and maintain flight level 230, United 1399. 230, so I'm going to just down arrow, managed mode. So down arrow and then up arrow in the managed mode. The reason it's come up with this circles because I still have the second flight plan, so I don't need any of this stuff. So we're going to get rid of Moulton, we're going to get rid of Sawyer. It's because this is just prepping for going the other way in case the ops change. So present position to Wookie, and then it'll be a full approach all the way down to ILS 16 left. So then you need to put in a second.
United 1399, contact Denver Center 120.47.
Denver Center 120.47, United 1399. 47 2047. Denver Center, United 1399, leaving 280 for 230.
What do the magenta dots represent on the MiG-2?
The dots, the magenta ones?
Yeah, on the MiG-2, yeah.
Yeah, these magentas show you that there is a restriction on the waypoint within the star, like Sawyer, for example.
Elite Air 448, Salt Lake City Tower, good evening. The wind calm, runway 16 right, clear to land.
See Sawyer's flight level 230 or above. So if you click to the right of Sawyer, it has a plus flight level 230, but no speed restraint. So that's why there's no speed there, because it has no speed. But yet, if I go to Rams, and you click to the right of it, it matches the restriction. Plus a speed restriction of 250 knots. So that's why I have the other arrival starting at Wookie, because I can change the arrival to the second flight plan, starting current position at Wookie, and then we can do the other arrival if I need to.
Later than 10 minutes, change advisory. Frequency approved.
Release at about your clearance flight is not a 5, it's not a 5, call no later than 10, this frequency and frequency change approved. Sky photo.
United 1399, Denver Center.
United 1399, 267 for 230.
United 1399, Denver Center, good afternoon. Descend via the Mullen. Let's see here. Descend via the Mullen 3 arrival. Expect runway 17 right, or correction, stand by. Expect runway 16 left.
The 16 left, wouldn't that be the Tishner 3 arrival for United 1399?
United 1399, I'm going to leave you on the Mullen for now. Expect a runway 16 left at Denver, altimeter 3003, expect vectors.
Roger, if it makes it any easier, I can pick up the Tishner 3 from Wookiee for the 16 left transition, United 1399. He's probably not going to let me do that.
United 1399, roger, proceed direct to Wookiee, join the Tishner 3 arrival. Descend via the Tishner 3 arrival.
Descend via the Tishner 3 arrival from clear for clear direct to Wookiee, 16 left, United 1399. Holy cow. Alright, so, second plan. So I'm going to do heading mode. I'm going to go straight to Wookiee. We're going to activate second. And then direct to Wookiee. And it's 16 left. So I already had that in there. Let's make back to managed. So now we're descending via the Tishner 3, which is why I always do a second flight plan just for that, because I bet ATIS changed on me. ATIS 125.6. So they're landing south now. Before they were landing north.
53 Zulu. Wind 110 at 6. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 10,000. Few clouds at 25,000. Temperature 6. Dew point -3.
Challenger 70, Julie, contact Los Angeles Center 133.2, good night.
16 right. 32, 727, 17 right. Departing runways 17 right, 16 left, 825. Visual approaches in use. ILS runway 16 left, runway 16 right, runway 17 left, and runway 17 right approach in use. Multiple R
Clear 448 for Roger.
VFR departures, contact clear and slippery.
Taxi southbound on Alpha, then contact ground on 123.77.
Hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Foxtrot.
Alright, Foxtrot for 16 left.
Denver International Airport.
Alright. So I have the speed brakes out to get back on profile. That green dot is profile, so I have the speed brakes out. So now I'm back on profile, so that's fine. I'm going to put on my button here to make sure I'm crossing out the restrictions.
Census Sky High 412, 3,700 climbing IC1.
Alright, so let me get rid of
Sky 412, Seattle Center, good evening, ident.
Descend via the Tishner 3. Denver's approach 120.35.
Denver Center, waters 4679 on the ground at Durango, looking to pick up IFR to Denver.
And I'm going to update my wind. So while you do that, you right click, go to wind request, update insert.
4679,
and that will really help with your profile. It will update all the winds and everything. So I'm managed, everything's managed, speed, everything per the star. So I do need to enter in the approach information. So perf to approach, we'll grab the weather at Denver. So I'm looking at 30.
5 miles to the southeast of Sandpoint Airport.
Temperature 6.
Maintain 12,000.
120 at 6.
Maintain 12,000, Sky 412.
Lead Air 448.
Oh, and
Salt Lake City ground where you parked.
this is 16 left. So I need to see if that is
All
a
right, take
Cat
south on
3,
Alpha and then Echo to the ramp.
which it's not. So 16 left has a
South on
decision
Alpha, and then
altitude
left on
of
Echo to the main
200 radar. So that goes there. And then that is your go-around phase. So you got to think as perf as phases, right? Descent phase, approach phase, go-around phase. So Airbus has phases.
Roger, standby.
And then you also have to, you might have to arm the approach phase, but you don't have to because it's actually, it's a full approach, so you won't have to on this one. It will show up as a D cell.
So 3755,
So you have Lin and D cell. So that D cell mark will put it to a managed final approach speed for you, taking into account all of this information.
United 1399, contact Denver approach 120.35.
Denver approach 120.35, United 1399. Alright, so we got 3004. 3004, 120, 35. I already got ATIS.
Southwest 39, Albuquerque. Southwest 3984, Albuquerque Center, roger, thanks.
Denver approach, United 1399, descending via the Tishner 3, leaving 17,500. Current with Foxtrot, request ILS 16 left from Tishner.
United 1399, Denver approach, altimeter 3003 at Tishner, cleared ILS, runway 16 left approach.
At Tishner, cleared ILS 16 left approach, United 1399.
November 920, Delta Delta, contact Albuquerque Center 134.32. Delta Delta, Albuquerque Center, good evening. Flagstaff altimeter 3024.
Alright, so he cleared me the approach, so I can go lower than 13,000 now. The 13,000 is the bottom of the star. So we'll bring it down to, you could go down to 7,000, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to grab the glide slope by 9,000. So now I just got a speed reduced by the stars, so the airplane's doing it all on its own and managed. 230 knots, you can go into slats. 1 notch of flaps will do that. So we're going to come down here, we're going to check our ILS for 16 left is 1111. So you click on rad nav,
Durango. What was your call sign again?
Checks the frequency and the course 173. Program will put in KDEN 16 left. Put that there, we're 33 miles away from that runway.
10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency will be Denver Center 118.57, squawk 1423.
Max landing weight 65 tons, we're at 59.6. And let's see what else here would do. Terrain, because we're getting low. Cabin prepped, seatbelts on.
4679, readback is correct. Hold for release. Contact Denver Center on 118.57 when you're number 1 ready to go.
weird. It's not showing up there.
So 3755, Capital Ground, runway 16 left, line of weight.
Alright, so this tower is 135.3. Although he might give me a second approach, but I don't know, we'll see. Seatbelts are on. Put the first officer side on ILS mode. Turn on the ILS system by LS. That just gets it ready. Don't actually have to use it.
So there's 3755.
Turn the weather radar off. And then the way to really bleed off speed is you want to get down to 190 knots and then add in 2 notches of flaps. Right now I'm in 1 notch, but that's just slats. I don't actually have any flaps deployed.
1399, contact Denver approach now 123.85.
Denver approach 123.85, United 1399. 23. I should have done the other way. Denver approach, United 1399, 11700.
United 1399, Denver approach, Denver altimeter 3003.
3003, United 1399. 135.3 is tower for 16 left. So I'm all ready for that. I'm going to slow this thing down to 190. And we'll keep in a 1200 foot per minute descent. So you have to do down arrow, because if I do just the speed, it's going to want to pitch up. So I'm losing the speed because that little down yellow thing shows that I'm losing speed. So once I hit 200 knots, then I can add in flaps 2. Localizer is live, so we'll add in the localizer, and then glide slope is there. We're at 200, so I can add in flaps 2, and then that will really help me slow down to 190. We're going down to 9,000. So we put that in the manage mode. I'm going to arm approach. That way we'll capture the glide slope at 9,000. Turn on our landing lights.
Departure Southwest 3755 with you on the foothill.
Check our winds. Now you'll see this D right here.
Sorry about that.
That just means that
so it's 3755, no count departure radar contact,
the approach phase will activate at that D. So right after Kurt. So you see Kurt and then decel. That decel is that. So if I wanted manage speed, I could activate the approach phase early, and then that would delete the D there. So we'll go ahead and activate it early. It deleted the D.
Delta descent posture maintain 11,000.
That's all I needed. So we'll slow down to 180. And then 178 or so. Here comes the glide slope. So we'll go to flaps 3. Gear down.
United 1399, maintain 180 knots or greater to Leeds. At Leeds, contact tower 135.3, good night.
Maintain 180 to Leeds. At Leeds, contact tower 135.3, United 1399. Leeds. 180 to Leeds. So I have 3.74 miles to slow down. That's plenty. So at any time I want, I can hit manage mode on the speed and it will slow per the weather that is in the approach phase. So you just have to double check your winds, your temperature, and all that. If I was going to abort, I would just go full throttle. So mist is climb to 5,900, then climbing right turn to 12,000. So the autopilot will do all that on its own. So I'm going to put this up to 12,000. For an R&P approach, you don't want to change the MCP until your final approach fix. If you're on ILS, you can do it anytime you have captured the glide slope. We're going to do low auto brakes. The spoilers are armed right here. 135.3 grounds, 127.5.
2,500.
Alright, switch into tower.
2,500.
I'm going to go slow down. What is it, 16 left? Denver Tower, United 1399. Assumption localizer, 16 left.
United 1399, Denver Tower, good afternoon. The wind is 1106, runway 16 left, clear to land.
16 left, clear to land, United 1399. Alright, so now we have a few things to do. Cabin check, flaps full, so we're going to go to full flaps. Go to the FAP page, do cabin check, and we're set, good to go. So for mist, go around, it would be full throttle, flaps 3, gear up. Leave it in managed mode, autopilot, until you're decided that you're going to land, because it's much easier for this thing to cycle the missed approach fix if it's already in autopilot. So I'm going to leave it in autopilot until minimums, which for this is 200 radar.
Approaching 16 left.
Looks like we'll be exiting Foxtrot 4 maybe? Foxtrot Golf. Alright. Minimums, like I said, it's 200.
500.
So I'm going to disconnect the autopilot. The speed will remain
3755, contact
auto.
125.75, good night.
It would be auto speed until I go to retard the throttles to idle. So it will hold the speed for you
Minimum 200.
until I pull back on the throttle all the way to idle.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard 10, 5.
And we're down. Put it in reversers. Auto brake is on. We're going to be exit. It's like left up here.
Sky 412, advise when you have the standpoint, weather, and approach request when you got one.
Reversers off. I'll go down here to F4. Cycle the brakes.
5,000 feet remaining.
Come up here and we'll get the APU ready. You have to wait like a second before you activate it with that button. So you go on, wait a second, then turn that on. Turn off the window and pitot heat.
So 3755, Oakland Center, good evening, climb maintain 51230.
Do the wheel brake fan. You stop after the stop
Sky
bar.
412, I have your request.
You 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 412, 4 Denver Tower, United 1399, looking for the south side of Bravo. It's like ground is 127.5. He's probably getting me my taxi instructions.
Yeah, 1399, roger. Text will be a Zulu Golf. And when you're on Golf, contact the ground on 127.5.
Parking via Zulu Golf, one Golf, contact ground 27.5, United 1399. Zulu. Oh, Zulu's right there in front of me. Okay. And so we'll turn off the strobes, the landing lights.
Southwest 3755, contact Oakland Center 127.45.
Switch to ground control. Denver ground, United 1399, on Golf, looking for south side of Bravo.
Southwest 3755, Oakland Center, good evening. Clear director Bryant, that's Foxtrot Romeo Alpha, climb and maintain 50370. United 1399, Denver ground, roger, where you parking?
Be the south side of Bravo for United 1399.
So Bravo, Bravo Sierra.
Bravo Sierra, United 1399, thank you.
1399, roger, taxi ramp via Golf.
Ramp via Golf, United 1399. It's Bravo Sierra, would be the first one on the south side, okay. Well, I know that was a lot, Joe, but at least I think I covered actually every aspect of the McDo with the second flight plan, how to change it up. I did it fast just because, you know, working with the controller and the speeds and everything, but I think reviewing this with the other streams, and by all means ask me questions on future streams when you run across challenging things with this.
Sky 412, descend to maintain 1010,000.
That was excellent. Excellent.
Sky 412, the...
Thanks, Joe.
Sandpoint altimeter 3013.
Yeah, the tricky part with this, you'll notice that this auto trim, so this wheel, when you're flying, it's constantly moving. You have no control over that. You can't turn it off. It will turn off automatically. I want to say 200 radar altitude, or no, much lower than that, like 50 feet. I think it's when it will actually disengage. But so it's like when you're coming down to flare, you kind of, it's almost like you flare twice. Because you're going to start to pull back at about maybe 50, 60 feet. But as you're pulling back on the yoke or the stick, whichever you fly with, that auto trim is still spinning. So it's like, it's counterintuitive. It just feels weird, but I mean, you get used to it. I did. So then, you know, you pull back the flare at about 50 feet, and then right at 20 feet,
cleared.
Right at 20 feet, the auto trim feature will actually quit working. It would just stop. So then you end up having to flare kind of like a second time. So, and it's the same thing with taking off. So with this airplane, you just have to remember with the stick or the yoke that you want to pull back twice on both takeoff and landing. And just very little bit of control. I don't have any dead, what do you call the curves or whatever. I haven't added any, but some people say they have and it's helped them. But that's the biggest learning curve with this plane is that that auto trim feature, because the airplane handles differently, which is also why this plane is my nemesis when it comes to landing. All right, so we make sure the APU is on. It is. We can shut down both engines. Gate's coming over. With the BSS, you turn off all these lights. Put the chocks, open up the door, put your transponder to standby, and it will give you the sounds of people unclicking their belts, and the onboarding process begins with the sounds. And that's all in the sounds instructions. It shows you what to do when, just like, you know, going from auto to seatbelts on will start different features of the sounds. So bring those up. Open up that door. Turn off the fuel pumps. Disconnect from PilotEdge. Do a replay on the landing here in just a moment. Was quite informative. Thanks, bud. I hope everyone got something out of it. My YouTube channel, for those of you that don't know, is Chase1399 and then a space aviation. So not all my streams, but a vast majority of them I do upload to YouTube. So this in particular stream for sure, I'll upload to my YouTube channel, Chase1399 space aviation. And if you click that subscribe button on YouTube, and it will let you know when I upload new content. And subscribers on my Twitch channel can view all my prior streams and, you know, other perks as well that most people are familiar with. All right, so I'm gonna turn off those batteries, turn that thing off, and then we'll I double check, make sure I'm not online. They don't like it when you all of a sudden reappear in the air. Didn't really show much of this airport. Not a whole lot of lights till you get to the terminal area, which is pretty much at the end of the runway. All right, there you go. Did you get it installed? Did you try again, or are you gonna save that for another day, Joe?
I'll try it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. You know, maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. I don't know.
I think possibly by moving the CEF into the aircraft's plug-in folder, that it kind of maybe messed up the code to where it just kind of what's the word when you mess up a file, corrupted. So I think it might have corrupted the install. So just do a fresh install, move over the plane, move over the CEF, try the updater first, then actually load the plane, because I think by loading the plane with the CEF in the plugins folder of the aircraft might have corrupted something. So clean install should hopefully fix it for you.
Yeah, I hope so, because I'm really excited about this, you know.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get it working. All right, well, cool. I appreciate it. I'm going to get out of here and have some dinner myself.
Okay, you have a great night, and thank you so much. It was really, really entertaining, and it was very informative, and it's, you know, it's great that it'll be up on YouTube for posterity, you know, posterity.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be up tomorrow for sure.
Great. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll catch y'all later. Thanks.
Lufthansa 447 Heavy, Denver departure, radar contact.
3.3, traffic 1 o'clock to the parallel.
33.3, traffic inside skies for 27 Yankee.
Boutique 777, maintain 1-2000, expect direct diamond.
2000 and we'll expect direct diamond, boutique 777.
Lufthansa 447 Heavy, proceed direct to York. Office 2828, climb maintain, flight level 230.
FedEx 3053 Heavy, turn right heading 260.
Right turn 260, FedEx 3053 Heavy.
Right.
Boutique 777, proceed direct diamond, maintain 10,000.
Direct diamond 10,000, boutique 777.
Lufthansa 447 Heavy, climb maintain, flight level 230.
Denver approach Frontier 639 is with you, 197, descending via the Pearl 2 at Foxtrot.
Frontier 639, Denver approach, good afternoon, expect a visual approach, runway 35 left.
Visual 35 left.
First discretion, field and type, FedEx 3053.
FedEx 3053 Heavy, join final at Franz, cleared visual approach, runway 35 right.
Join the final Franz, clear visual 35 right, FedEx 3053 Heavy.
Center water ski 661 Alpha, sending via the Pearl to 220.
Ski 661 Alpha, Denver approach, expect a visual approach, runway 35 left, and I missed the 80. Did you have Foxtrot?
35 left, and we do have Foxtrot, water ski 661 Alpha.
3193, an area of light cloud precipitation, 12 o'clock, about 5 miles. Are you detecting anything ahead?
Pretty clear.
Okay, thank you. Southwest 3193, contact approach 123.85. Have a good day.
2385, Southwest 3193.
GPS 2804 heavy, contact approach 120.8 today.
2.8, yes.